the best college basketball and college football coaching duos. So who has a good mixture? We're going to go snake draft style again, 3 picks a person, so 12 in total. Let's go JT first because he's the guest of honor. It will be back again, but we'll let him go first, snake draft style, and then Jay Bird, you decide who goes second, third, and fourth. Drop that in the comments.
Guest of honor.
Yes, recurring guest of honor. JT, your first pick, the best coaching duo, college basketball, college football in the country.
There's a couple options that I could go here, but based on the apparel that I got on today,
he's doing it.
I'm going to start our list off with Iowa State. Just like I talked about at the beginning of the podcast, we may not be like top 5, maybe top 5 level in basketball. Maybe not. We're not like top 5, top 10 in football, something like that. But there's not a lot of teams out there who are elite in both football and basketball like Iowa State have the last couple of years. And I don't think there's any other team in the country that can say they currently have their best football and best basketball coach of all time, arguably, as their sitting head coach for basketball and football. Otzelberger may be a discussion there. But if you just look at their recent success this year, 10 wins in football, 20 wins in basketball, there's only 5 other teams can say that they did that this year. And Iowa State being one of them, it's just a special time for me and Jake both to be Cyclones right now.
I'll give a little bit of a shout out to Otzelberger on the basketball side of things. I was lucky enough to be courtside for his first year as head coach at Iowa State when they came in town and played Creighton. It's the CHI Center. And I had no idea that Iowa State was like going to be any good. And at that point, they were just kind of middle of the pack, and Creighton was a Elite 8 team. They went in and beat Creighton. And I was like, all right, maybe I don't really see a lot of teams go into Omaha and beat Creighton, especially in the non-con. So I was impressed with him there. And you've seen what he's done with the program. I'll let Jake have the floor and toot his own horn a little bit for this duo.
Yeah, all right, that's fine.
Are they number 1 for you?
Yeah, they were 2, but I would probably make the case they're 1. I don't know. I could say they're both like TJ. They're both top 10 coaches in the sport. I don't even think it's honestly a debate. I really don't. And we're not. If you want to talk national championships and all that stuff, we can. But like, the argument for Campbell and what he's done at Iowa State, I don't think anybody can or hasn't done it. So I'll just leave that there. I don't want to make this an Iowa State monologue when we put this on YouTube. So that was
what happens. We get the full Iowa State show on, and here we are talking about the clones again.
No, I think this duo has there's another one too. This one is probably my top right now, and it's Dana Altman and Dan Lanning.
Whoa! You don't get next pick. Your boy Jay Bird. I gave you the floor to talk about Iowa State. JP's next. JP's next. Jay Bird has spoken.
That is an incredible swipe right there.
That was an incredible swipe. It was that a big
pick it. Let JP pick it.
Yeah, I got 1-1 right here. Dana Altman, Dan Lanning.
All right, it goes to JP. Sorry, Jake. Can't jump the gun like that.
You said Jake had the floor, so I was like,
yeah, to talk about the Iowa State pick.
No, I'm not.
I don't even need to explain it. It's cool. It's whatever, man.
Yeah, you don't need to explain it.
Go ahead.
Now, I don't know. No, I have no idea who is next. Jay Bird, who's going? Is it Jake or is it me? Jake just completely ignored you. Just keep that in mind. So it probably should be me, but I'll take it just in case he's not watching. For my first pick, I don't think this one will be taken for a while, but I'm going to go Rick Barnes and Josh Heupel at Tennessee. I think this is a really good combo. Obviously, they're both competitive, very well on the national scale. Tennessee making the college football playoff. Tennessee definitely in the March Madness brackets this year and consistently good. So that's my first duo off the board. Jake, now you can have your fourth pick and the first pick of the second round. Back to back here.
Damn it.
Good thing my first 3 picks were all taken. I will go since I got back to back. I'm gonna go Lance Leipold and Bill Self.
Yeah, I had that one too.
Self been a tough year. Actually, been a tough couple of years, but he's still probably the best coach in college basketball. I don't even think that's really much up for debate right now. And Leipold again had a disappointing season. I don't want to say a tough year. It was disappointing. They were expected to compete for a Big 12 title, and they just got behind the 8 ball in the beginning of last year. And they were playing to their capabilities by the end of the season, which credit to him again. I don't think a lot of coaches could resurge their team like that, but he still accomplished so much more than literally any other coach hasn't been able to do at that school. Les Miles, Charlie Weiss, like the list goes on and on. So I think what he's done is still even puts him at, I'd even argue he's a top 20 coach in college football right now.
All right.
So
your next pick, first, second
Yep.
round, pick one, going around the second round. Jake, give us yours.
Ooh, this one's.
These are gonna get eaten up fast.
I'm
I
going
feel like
between
this one's
one and
pretty obvious.
I don't think so, Justin, because I'm going to go Dabo Sweeney and Brad Brownell. Brad Brownell.
That's not a bad one.
Brownell is the winningest coach in the active ACC coaches right now.
Mhm.
Led Clemson to an Elite Eight. They're going to be another top 3 team in the league right now, and they could make another decent little run. And the success that they've had, Clemson's not a historically good basketball program, so the job he's done there has been awesome. And then Dabo, like, what can you say? He's got national championships. He's still
Recruiting his ass off right now, too.
Yeah, he's doing really well, and he's still atop of the ACC. And in a change that he was slow to accustom to in college football, he still remains easily a top 2 or 3 team in the ACC year after year, no matter what people have to say about him. So I think those two are really solid to be on campus if you're rooting for Clemson.
All right, going to my pick, second pick in the second round. This one might take you by surprise, but I expect to take it off JP's board. Give me Brad Underwood and Brett Bielema over at Illinois.
Yep.
Right
That's
now,
off my board.
this is
Add
an
it on my board.
absolute great duo. I mean, we'll look where Illinois is at as a football program, probably going to be preseason ranked top 15 if the AP poll does it right. And then Underwood in the basketball program, always consistently good, really good within the Big Ten, and make a run at come to the dance. They've had their faults, but right now, for what they're doing at the program they're at, it's an elite duo in college football and basketball. So that is my second pick. Going back to JP.
I think there's an obvious one here because I think some of the other ones I've written down I can get a little bit later, but I'll go Nate Oates, Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, that would have been my next one.
Absolutely. That's who I was thinking.
And I think that falls off some people's radars due to the, DeBoer takes over a situation where it's incredibly tough to succeed, even if he does well, right? And you take over for the greatest college football coach.
And he's
in
still
history.
succeeding, by the way.
Yeah, and they still were good, but they're not, when you're not up to 11-1, 12-0 national championship standards at Alabama, it's considered a failure. And then you look at Alabama, that's not a basketball school, and Nate Oates has got people believing. I always laugh when Cover 3 talks about it because Bud Elliott always talks like, I'm not so convinced that SEC people actually care about basketball, but rather just people talking about their school. They like their egos boosted a little bit. But you can't deny what, these two have done in their coaching careers, and now they're in the same spot with, sky high expectations. And I do believe in DeBoer. So I'll take that one.
I mean, Nate Oates, 3-time Sweet 16, 1 Final Four, pretty elite at a program that you never hear of in basketball. Go ahead, JT, the last pick of the second round here.
Yeah, I don't know how we let that one fall to you, JP. I was definitely going to scoop that one up if it fell to me. But I don't know if this one's going to be a surprise for you guys, but I'm actually going to go Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin and Chris Beard. One of the more
men of character.
Depends if what your thought
No,
of Chris Beard is.
Okay, yeah,
morality.
that's fine. They obviously both have their character defects, but if you're talking about results and wins, no one has had more success as far as a basketball football combination goes than Ole Miss the last 2 years. They're the only team in the country that's had back-to-back 10-win seasons in football and back-to-back 20-win seasons in basketball. If you look at Chris Beard and what he's done, seeing how he's kind of resurrected the Ole Miss basketball program, the fact that they're even a ranked team, and see what's going on in Texas since he's left.
Mhm.
And obviously we all know about Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss being right outside of the playoff this year, and I suppose last year if they had the playoff at that point. Program's going in a really good direction with both those guys, and kind of an underrated pick in my opinion.
All right, give us your next one. Round
Yeah, you got two of
3,
them.
pick one. All off the board are good ones. So let's maybe get some surprises in their final round.
Okay. For me, this one's a little more on potential and where I see the program
Don't do
going.
it.
I don't think I'm going to. It's between two of them. The one I'm going to go with is Michigan State.
Okay.
And for me, that's just a respect thing for Tom Izzo and what he's done at Michigan State. Obviously, one of the most decorated college basketball coaches of all time, and just passing Indiana's coach Bob Knight and wins this year. So arguably the best Big Ten coach of all time. And Jonathan Smith, I know he hasn't really had the results at Michigan State yet, but if you look back at what he's done over at Oregon State, there's a reason Michigan State wanted him so bad. Bringing the success that he had out there at an kind of an unnoticed Pac-12 school at the time, I think that he's still going to do big things at Michigan State. So I'll go with those two for my next pick.
All right, up to JP, your last pick.
I like that one. I had that thought process came across my head, like kind of, best duo. What's the outlook of, for the future? And I think I have one here that'll work for this one. I'm going to choose this one over the one I have second because I believe in the football coach a little bit more at this exact moment in time. Give me Pat Kelsey and Jeff Brom at Louisville. I think if you look at what Jeff Brom is as a coach, there's a lot of people within the business that'll tell you he's one of the best offensive minds in the sport, and he's proven that. So I think, and people like to play for him, so I'm going to bump him up there. You look at the dumpster fire that Louisville basketball was the last couple of years after being national title good for a long time. It was like some of the worst basketball you've ever seen at Division I level. And Pat Kelsey, ACC Coach of the Year this year, has that team number 2 seed in the ACC. So I'll take that one there.
All right. I like that we're going off potential here. For my last pick, third pick in the third round, I'm going off potential on the football side of things. Give me Matt Pointer and Barry Odom at Purdue. I think Barry Odom, what he was able to do as a program like UNLV, who was deader than dead for a long, long time, and to make them competitive in the national spotlight, competing for debatably a college football playoff bid last year if they were to win that Mountain West title. And then on the basketball side, you got a national champion coach, Purdue. I mean, it's just an elite group. What is everybody looking around? Is something wrong? JP, did I take that one off your list?
I think you said Matt Pointer instead of Matt Painter.
Did I?
Maybe.
My bad.
So
Sorry, college football show.
Yeah.
Tried to tell you guys in the chat. It's college football show. We're talking fucking different sport. Barry Odom. I'm talking Barry Odom at Purdue. A lot of potential. I like where the Boilermakers could go. Obviously, it would benefit them more if they were still in the Big Ten West, but a hell of a coach, and I like the duo as it stands right now. Jake's making a gross face, but why? You don't believe in Barry Odom?
I don't. I really don't. But that's your
he's
pick.
the next Matt Campbell. Purdue.
If he, oh my God,
if he produced Matt Campbell level, they would be.
He wins 6 games in his first. If he gets a 6-win season in his first 3 years, I'll
sound like me with Dion.
Let me come up with something.
You get a boiler on. You get a Purdue logo on your ass.
Let me get the P on my ass.
You get a train run on you if they win 6 games.
Wow.
Welcome to the show, JT. All right, give us your last pick. 4th pick, 3rd round, final pick of tonight's show.
I can't believe this one didn't get picked.
Wait, how many?
Because we talked about potential.
3rd pick.
Is this going to be?
Yep.
Yeah, this is it.
I think I know who this is going to be.
We're doing potential. Like this guy, at least year 1 has results. Like, give me Mike Elko and Buzz Williams at A&M.
That was on my list.
I thought Mike Elko exceeded all expectations for the most part in year 1. I know they didn't finish the way they wanted to, but you're still playing meaningful football, and you had a trip to Atlanta on the line in the last game of the year. Like, what's better than that? And then Buzz Williams, kind of a little bit slow to get going, and I know they've had some disappointing outs in the NCAA tournament, but Texas A&M's top, 6-7 team in the SEC in the best league of college basketball. And I don't find Texas A&M to be some factory for basketball. Like, people care about football, and then it's probably more baseball than anything.
100%.
And Buzz Williams has done a really good job of being consistent in a really tough league for SEC basketball. So, yeah, Mike Elko and Buzz Williams, and 2 guys that have also done it at other schools along the way. So I trust those 2 to get it done at A&M.
All right, there it is. That is the full list of the 12 picks for our top coaching duos between